Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Reality NFSW's coverage of Big Brother 23. I'm Bobby Goodsby, joined as always by Brent Wolgamott. Brent, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm sorry. That was me. Actually, I had you open in two different windows if you guys heard that echoing.
I had it in my ear too, so don't worry. I was doing the same.
I was trying to bring up the chat because I wanted to chat with people in the chat room, and then I forgot to close the main window. And then I forgot to plug in my headphones. Oh my God. Just talk to Alex.
No worries.
While I do that.
And we got Alex Rubino back with us this week. How's it going, Alex?
I'm doing great. So happy to be back. Even if we may have a clunker of an episode to talk about, it's still going to be fun. So.
Very excited to be here with you guys. So let's get into the episode. First, we have Whitney, who is Christian's target. Sarah Beth is not happy about this decision. She wants to push her agenda, but she knows she shouldn't because it's not a good look for her in this house, even though she's desperate to get Hannah out. What are your guys' thoughts?
Too little, too late is what I'll say. I loved hearing her in the diary room because in the diary room, she sounded like us. She sounded like Taryn. She sounded like me, where she was like, well, I know as a player of Big Brother that I can't push this target too much or it might expose me. And I'm like, bitch, maybe you might have thought about that like a day ago, maybe 2 days ago, when you like literally had your ass hanging out in front of 7 fucking people in the Royal Flush gang, pushing Hannah as the target when you had no support around you for any reason. I just do not understand how she let that happen. I think in her heart of hearts, she probably knows like what would happen with Derek X at the end of the episode. She probably got out a bit over her skis, probably would like that one back. The problem is, for Derek X, it doesn't matter. Whitney's going home. On the other hand, with Sarah Beth, all the people she just offended and made wise up to her are still in the house and are, in fact, running the game. So that is going to be a problem for her going forward from my point of view. Alex, go.
Her biggest... I love that she's talking about, like, oh, I got to, like, lose the battle, and now the war is starting at the end of the episode. Sarah Beth, the war was a week ago. You already lost. She is like, wait, no, let me be calm. After already going all the way too deep, it's like you're already in the deep end of the pool. Start swimming. Let's go. If you're gonna at least try to make it happen. Make it happen. Don't give up now because her game is already sunk as far as I can tell. And yeah,
I don't know if it's totally sunk. But I admit that it is on thin ice right now. There are more than a handful of people that would make her the target, and more than that, who would put her up on the block as a pawn who may inevitably go home.
My biggest concern, besides the fact that she's being targeted by a lot of people, is that there aren't a lot of people who are fighting for her. Mm-hmm. Mostly everybody who's not even targeting her is like, I don't really want to see her go now, but she can go eventually.
I will say this. She does have one person fighting for her, and that is a powerful person in the house. And that is Kylan, who is for my money, at the heart. If maybe it's Xavier, he's at. If he's not the heart of the cookout, he's at the ribs or something. Like he's there, and I feel like he could say, "Look, this is my girl. Let me have this one." I mean, I don't know if that would work, but he does have. She does have a little bit of currency in the game through Kylan. And her lucky break here is that through some mistakes of some other people, some petty jealousies of other people, Q-Aza, there are some people in the house who may have ideas for other targets in the house other than Sarah Beth and don't really see her as a big target. So we'll talk about it later on, but actually we can talk about it whenever, because honestly, there's not a lot to talk about this episode. But like for real, she's lucky that the entire fucking house isn't going after her next week, right before jury. Because that would be a tough pill to take for essentially doing what she needs to do, because I feel like so many people in this house are not playing hard enough. And I feel like she actually played too hard. Like she actually did. She actually played too hard, which we talk about that as being a cliche. I know Taryn always talks about that as being a cliche in the house. Like, people always say you don't want to play too hard, but that's a cliche. But she actually did. So God bless her moving forward.
Yeah, she found herself in a great spot going into this week and had a strong alliance behind her and really just pushing her own agenda, not really wanting to compromise on that or work with anyone to really work with what other people wanted to do. Right. She just wasn't very malleable. And you have to be malleable in this house to be able to get further in this game, especially when it's people you're working with. Because the moment you start pushing your own agenda and it's really not to the benefit of other people, or at least not in their initial plans this week, it really highlights you as someone who's not willing to be a team player and wanting to push your thoughts and feelings ahead of the team. And I think that's what really, really screwed her this week. And going forward, I agree with you. I think Kylan's her only saving grace. She needs Kylan to get into power. And if Kylan gets into power, I still think that there's a chance she can still hit the block if he gets enough pressure behind him. So I think that that's her only saving grace is Kylan, but I still think there's an ounce that she could be in trouble.
Yeah, because from my money, Tiffany has had her way for almost the entire run of the series so far. And if things go according to plan, she's probably going to get her way next week. And her, like the person who wants her out the most, from even more so than Hannah, I feel like is Tiffany. Yeah, and Tiffany has always gotten her way. So let's see. By the way, I see you in the comments. I know Kylan doesn't know she's in trouble, but bitch, if her name starts coming up next week when a malleable HOH comes up and he or she is thinking about nominating her, best you believe he's gonna make sure that they know how he feels.
Yes, absolutely. And first off, real quick, we want to say thank you to Nowhere Man for the $1.99 super chat sticker. We appreciate you for the donation. Alex, what are your thoughts?
I feel like the theme of this house has been so far people playing pretty good games overall, but so many people are becoming targets because they're not playing hard enough. They're like, oh, I don't want to make waves. I want other people to take the big move for me because they know what they want to do. It's like, oh, I hope this person does it. I hope this person does it. And I think that's happening to Sarah Beth before she went too hard. She was playing too soft, didn't have much agency in the game, realizes she doesn't have much agency, and then is trying to convince everybody to put the target on Hannah. It fails. I think Kylan is going to get himself in trouble eventually if he doesn't start stepping up. He has some agency in the game, but it is definitely waning this week because him and Tiffany are not getting along. Brittany, the same thing. She has next to no agency in this game. Whitney it's the reason she's going, and I can keep going with people who just aren't playing hard enough, and their time is coming one after another, after another, after another. And yeah.
And right here, Heather Rogers says, Sarah Beth's insecurity over Hannah's brain and relationships with Kai and X cost SB her game. Mm-hmm. I tend to agree. I really do agree. I think that that's a big reason why we see Sarah Beth pushing as hard as she does, and it's honestly to her own detriment.
Well, the thing that I feel like she forgot is that I saw her, because I have had trouble watching the feeds, I have other things going on, but when I was able to watch the feeds for the first 3-4 days, when really a lot of the shit went down, when it was really, 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 really fun, Sarah Beth was doing some really good work, and I feel like that she had Alyssa, and especially Christian, like looking at Hannah as the target, but that was in like a private group. First, it was almost like she just blew a gasket, which I have done before, like in public, where like it just comes out, and she I feel like maybe in her head she's just like I'm sure I can channel Sarah Beth for a second. I'm Sarah Beth. I'm sitting in the room. There's all these people making the decision. I'm looking at me from home, so I'm like astral projecting into my own self, watching myself. What would I be saying to me? And I would be saying to me, bitch, you need to speak up. You need to make yourself be heard. Don't let this game pass you by. I can see her saying that to herself. She's just a little unlucky too. That a bad call to do in front of so many people, and a little bit unlucky that some of these people are working together in an alliance that otherwise you never see meet because they don't have to.
Yes. And one thing I want to call out with Sarah Beth and the way she was trying to put the target on Hannah was not obviously the fact that her doing it in a large group is not smart, but the way she's campaigning, saying basically, here's why Hannah's bad for my game instead of here's why Hannah's bad for all of you, and you all need to wake up. Because if she had campaigned that way, she at least maybe gets somewhere, because all these people are self-interested and can understand logical arguments. But when you're making the arguments only for yourself, it's like, oh, Why would we want to just do your dirty work for you? We know who you're going after. We'll just let you become HOH to do the work for us.
It was a really pronounced me.
100%.
It wasn't just like, she said me and she meant R. It was me. Like, I mean, it was like, it was all about her. And you could see it in the way she said it, and it rang true to you. Like, okay, this bitch is talking about herself. Oh my God. Like, that's how it came out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's move along. Next, we see Christian talking to Hannah. He tells her that he believes that she is the pawn, that she has nothing to worry about, that he has his target set in motion. At this point, I mean, I feel like it was a pretty optional moment right there. I feel like, honestly, Hannah could have reacted differently and really painted a bigger target on herself. So I was happy the way she did. She says she's going around trying to be mopey, trying to act like, woe is me. And I think it was the right approach going into this week.
Yeah. By the way, Alex, you know, like, for real, like, I just want to say this at the top because we haven't really talked about this. Like, when there's 3 of us on the pod and he asks a question, it doesn't always have to be me going first. You can go for real. You can go just whenever you want to go, just go. And if you start talking, I'll shut up. So go. I know you got something to say.
I think I have something to say about everything. I'm fine letting you go and then just telling you where you're wrong.
All right. That's cool. That works too. I actually do think that Hannah did a really good job this week. Better than I think I would have done. Honestly, It's not easy to sit up on the block as a pawn. And even though you know that you're safe, like, do you really know you're safe? And there's one person that really wants you out, and she's on the same team as the guy who put you up. Like, I don't know that I would feel that great. I mean, props to her for being as cool as a cucumber.
Mm-hmm. I think she gets credit for sure for being calm, cool, and collected, like the way she is. I still am having an issue with the fact that I don't know if she completely understands her position in the game. I feel like she's like got an idea of what to do, but she's in a slightly wrong position to even make all this happen. I'm glad she finally has some urgency in terms of wanting to win comps, but I also think I want her to try to straighten things out with Sarah Beth at least a little bit, and I've not seen a ton of effort going to there. And Sarah Beth like literally wants her head on a platter. She should know this by now, and still hasn't done anything. It's almost like I hope she doesn't win HOH, but if she does, then I'll talk to her. And it's like, no, talk to her before. Give it everything you've got.
Right? Give it something now.
You have nothing else to do. Whitney is going. She is literally home as far as you're concerned. Get Sarah Beth at least to think about other people.
I just believe that she thinks that no matter what, Sarah Beth doesn't have the army behind her to take her out regardless. So she just doesn't believe that that's even going to be an issue, so she doesn't have to.
There is a way she can do that, and we all know what that way is. But would Sarah Beth I'm talking about, do that? I don't think so. I don't think she's going to put up Hannah with some other member of the cookout. Yeah. Maybe Derek F. Maybe. Like, I mean, like, I'm looking at something like, who's she going to put it up? I don't know. Like, I other than Hannah, I kind of forget who she was trying to get up as a secondary target.
She would have put up Derek X probably.
Okay. Probably Derek,
which would not be good.
No, be terrible. That would be terrible. That would be terrible.
All right, so we see X confront Whitney about her targeting the Kings, and then Whitney's going to bring this up to Christian and be like, that never happened.
Lies.
Even though we saw the video footage, it definitely happened. She's just trying to save her own ass at this point.
She should know. She said that in front of here's the thing. If I was playing Big Brother and I know I said something in front of like 4 or 5 people, and I've heard this now from Xavier and now from Christian, I know I've been ratted out. Girl, own your shit. Own your shit. Say somebody else said something to you, but you totally wouldn't have done it. Like you've heard other information since then. Like, you have to find a way to own your shit and then like spin it somehow. You can't just sit there and deny. It makes you look even more culpable in the first place.
I feel like we saw this version of you on Sequester.
What did I do?
I don't know. I can't think of anything exactly off the top of my head, but that just sounds like something you would do.
I try to own my shit as much as possible. No, there was one time where I literally bald-faced lied to Natalie when she wanted to know if I voted for her, and I was like, "Of course, girl. I would never have voted for you. You know." And she's like, "Well, that's what." I'm like, "You should have called me." Like I literally said to her, "You should have asked for my vote. You should have revealed my vote just so you could have seen that I was voting with you." And she's like, I know I didn't have to because I knew I trusted you. And the whole time I literally voted for her. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God she didn't call my vote. Thank God she didn't call my vote. Yes.
Brent is the type of player who will lie, but then go to the person and say, I am so bluntly honest with you. How can you not believe me? And then wonders why he gets caught.
Yes, that's very true. Very true. I'm like, I do as I say, not as I do. Okay.
So Whitney was basically caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Basically, X was good enough to really confront her and tell her, hey, this is why. And she tried to do as much backpedaling as she could, but it wasn't working. It wasn't
even convincing. Wasn't even convincing. No, I hated watching. This is something else I saw on the feeds. This is terrible. Like I know the truth, and I'm trying to live in a world where she could be believable, and she was not believable. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a bad liar. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
All right. So we come back from break and we see people in the backyard. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't even do a backflip nor a burpee, in my opinion.
I had no idea what they are. No idea.
You've never heard of burpees?
I lost almost 60 pounds having never done a fucking burpee in my life. Don't even know. I was in the army, and I've like heard of the name, but I didn't know what it was. Like, this is what it is? Is this what it is?
Yeah.
Like, so what is a burpee?
It's basically you like squat down, jump out and do a push-up, jump back up, and then jump in the air and do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And you're miserable.
It's basically the worst exercise of all time.
Yeah, no, it is miserable. It is absolutely miserable.
I mean, I'm happy with my dad bod at this point, so I'm completely content. So, and I don't think I've ever been able to do a backflip in my entire life. I'm just too not.
Oh, right. Oh, never. Yeah.
No.
So, I could never. That was amazing. I like the fact that they're showing that Christian's making himself an even bigger target.
Exactly. What's he doing?
Like, why is everybody not going after him?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
3 competitions in a row. Like,
can
now
we just,
you're making yourself.
Since we're talking about Christian, let's just we're going to
talk
about a lot about next week and not a lot about this week because we know when he's going home. So let's talk about Christian real quick. I think you really have to give the boy props. You really do.
Amazing.
Because from my money, he has won the last 3 competitions, not counting the wildcard competition, Veto, HOH, Veto, which winning HOH and Veto just in and of itself in the same week paints a big, glaring, flashing target on you. But to have won the previous week's Veto as well as like the first week HOH competition that were right when they got to the Final Four, he's won a lot is what I'm trying to say. And he's just showing off. And yet, I think 2 people, Derek X and Kyland, might have Christian as a target. Maybe maybe a third person, but he should be the target for literally everybody in the house, except 100%. For maybe Derek X. Like, I don't think Derek X should not be targeting Christian because once Christian goes, then Derek X is going to go.
That third person who might be targeting him might be Claire at this point, who I know wants to get rid of the showmance. Yes. But here's the thing I find interesting is the fact
Claire
that he's not
showman. She needs the showman so bad. Oh my God. Oh, go ahead.
The one that Christian's not being targeted by absolutely everybody at this point, and I guess I have to give him an illicit credit somehow of taking this HOH and minimizing their target. But despite winning everything, and he's literally won or come very close to winning every single comp he's been in this season, it is absolutely unbelievable. And the thing that I find most interesting is that Tiffany, of all people, who realizes how good of a comp beast he is, how good he is socially as well, she doesn't want him out. She wants Derek X to take him out, which is interesting because, okay, Derek X is the second best person at comps arguably in the season. She wants him to take him out. But who's watching Derek X? Nobody. It's like, who's watching the Watchman? Nobody. And right? They're all like, oh, maybe we'll take Christian out in a double. We'll sneak him out of here in a double. He can win a comp in a double.
Right?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
The minute the guy is vulnerable, you have to take him out. I'm sorry. I know it's pre-jury still. You need to take him out.
And I agree with you. And I feel like that is Tiffany's weak point, is that she's actually somebody who's not targeting Christian. She understands if other people do, but she does not want to target Christian because correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't her son named Christian as well? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
But also, she really likes Christian. And if she likes you, she has trouble literally targeting you. I know she's talking about targeting Claire, but she loves Claire. And I really ultimately don't believe she's going to target Claire, especially not herself. She would never put her up. I don't think she'd ever put her up personally. So I feel like that's where Tiffany lets her heart get in the way of her head. And I understand that happens, but really hope. Oh God, yeah. So many people playing bad this week. I like to talk about. Can we talk about people who are playing good? But we can do that later on. Let's bag on these people more.
I think Tiffany's obviously playing an incredible game, and you know how good of a game she is. When you talk about every single person in their position, you have to mention Tiffany, and you have to mention how she feels about every single person. And I think she's also the only person who's able to really make decisions for the long term of where she wants to go, because she has so many options, because she's good with nearly everybody. And I think the bad part, she's gone down a little bit this week, but I still think she's still above everybody else, even with her going down.
I'd say
her and Kylan aren't getting along great anymore, which could be more bad. I think is more bad for Kylan than her, but still not good for her. And I think that she really wants Claire out. Like, she is now talking about the minute Claire is vulnerable, taking her out. I know she loves Claire, and I know it will definitely be tough for her to make that move. But I definitely think Tiffany is the person who will realize, I am here to win the game. I have a kid at home. I didn't come here 100 days without my son to not win. And she knows what a good position she's in. She's going to try to take Claire. And I think it's way too early to get out.
Oh, yeah. What the fuck is that about?
No.
I take back what I said before. I do not believe that Tiffany is the boss of the house anymore. I do not believe she is in the number one spot. Xavier. For my money, Xavier. I believe Xavier. He's a better liar than she is. He's a better player than she is. I do, because I feel like that Tiffany has trouble shading her emotions to fit the conversation that she's happening. If she's not having it with you, it's all over her face. Yes. I'm sorry. Okay. I believe he is better at the nuts and bolts of playing Big Brother than she is at this point.
I think Xavier is good almost in the short term of like, yeah, maybe I think he's a better social player than her. Fine. And he's good at making allies, getting people to like him, all that stuff.
Oh, you mean playing Big Brother? Oh, okay.
Part of playing Big Brother, he is good at. Strategically, I think Tiffany knocks him out of the water. She knocks everybody else out of the water in the game. Yes, I don't like the plan she has now, but she is thinking so many steps ahead, where I think Xavier is good at thinking in the right now as well. Xavier's become in a better position in this game, basically by almost taking it. I wouldn't even say taking advantage of Kylan's losses with Tiffany, especially, but just by kind of not being Kylan at this point. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really done anything to put himself in like one of the better positions of the game. I think it's just Kylan almost took himself out of that position, and he just was the next best thing. So I still can say I think Tiffany is by far the better player, but I definitely think if she targets Claire, she is sinking her own game right now. And
changes your mind on that. Like yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Would Xavier be the person who probably is in a better position if Tiffany blows up her own game? Yes, I do think so, but not from his own doing. I think right now he's a really good player in a really good position, but not enough of his own doing. And I think he's another person who needs to kick it into another gear if he really wants to go far.
Yeah, and I still think Tiffany's claws run deep in this game. I agree with Alex. I think that Tiffany's by far the better strategic player. I do agree that X is playing a good game, but I think that's more circumstantial because of what's happened over the last couple of weeks, that really he's not the one running the show, but he's the one at least portraying enough emotion to other house guests that they can relate to him and want to work with him, which inevitably makes him safe, and makes him seem trustworthy. But Tiffany is the one actually pushing agendas. So that's where I think Tiffany is really the one being the stronger side in this house. Now, to real quickly go back to what you guys were saying about Christian, this house is making a huge mistake not getting him out before jury. Like, they need to get him out, especially since we haven't seen a buyback yet. They have to be expecting that there might be some sort of buyback come jury time. And if that's the case, Christian's the front runner to really have no problem staying in this house going forward. Even if he is voted out, he should be hands down the favorite above anyone, with maybe Derek X slightly behind him as a possible returnee if he's able to get back in the house. So I think the mistake of not getting Christian out pre-jury is a huge one for these house guests.
Could not agree with you more there. I think everyone is stupid if they don't put Christian and Alyssa up next week. Flat out, you have the most obvious pair in the game who claim to be brother and sister, but are just making out every 5 minutes. So I don't really know how much of siblings you really are. And they're like, oh, they're fine. No, so, I think they complement each other so.
Let's talk about it then. So since, like you said, everybody in the house. So like, if Tiffany won HOH next week, should she put up Christian and Alyssa?
Yes, I would say so. I don't know if she should win HOH, but I do think it would benefit her if she happens to win HOH to make that move. I get Christian and Alyssa like her, but I also think here's the thing with Tiffany. Maybe she doesn't want Christian out right away, but I think she puts the two of them up and gets Alyssa out, which I think she definitely could, because she can really I think she can convince anybody of whatever she needs to do. Then she has Christian all by herself. And that is another person she has under her wing. She mostly has Xavier at this point. She had Kylan that I think can get Kylan back. She gets Christian. She's in a good position.
If she can do it, that would be a tall task to get Alyssa out against the guy who's won a bazillion competitions.
Well, Christian would probably win Veto anyway, and then she gets what she wants anyway. Fair. But I also think
you have to backdoor.
You have to. No, I think you do need to put them both up so that Christian can't use the veto on Alyssa or vice versa. That's why, and I think you need one of them out to split them up before jury, because additionally, they're both almost automatic jury votes for the other, which is never good. And if we remember from 2 years ago, you had Jackson and Holly, who people were like, oh, we should get them out, and they didn't, and they kind of accidentally ran the table, but they still ran the table. And Christian is so much better at comps than either one of them. Alyssa's no slouch either. Mm-hmm. So they are dangerous. Yes, they're not going to win from like now to the end of the game, but there aren't going to be that many opportunities to take them out.
That's fair. I concur with that. Yeah, I think the game moves faster as the game moves along. From my point of view, from a strategic point of view, I know from like the house shenanigans point of view, it seems to move slower. But from a strategic standpoint, it seems to move faster, and the moves are clearer. So I think getting him out sooner than later, always a good move. Also, splitting up that pair, always a good move. And I know people are saying like, well, we can keep them as a shield, but like, I don't really see that a lot of people are looking at them as a shield. They're more just like ignoring them and hoping but somebody else takes care of them. So in that case, they're not really a shield for you. So somebody has to do something about it.
And what's astonishing to me is that almost with, I would say, how poorly Kylan, I think, has played this week, where at the beginning he was like talking to everybody, and Tiffany was like, hey, Kylan, slow down. You're talking to everybody. Everyone is like worried about you because you were literally plotting with everybody. So he overcorrects instead of just not like really plotting with Sarah Beth. He's only really talking to her and not talking game to anybody else. And that I think has put the two of them together on an island. Yes, Sarah Beth is the bigger target right now because of her horrible, horrible pitch to target Hannah. But the fact that he's associated with her and really only her at this point, he's almost for now done with Tiffany. Maybe that can be salvaged if she wants it to happen, but really only if she wants it to happen.
All right, so let's like take 5 minutes. Let's get through this episode. Let's talk about the veto, and then we'll talk more about the shit. Yes, let's just get through it because it's gonna have to happen at some point, dear. So let's get through it. Go ahead.
All right, so we move on to Azah telling X how she has a schoolgirl crush about him, a little kid crush.
Whatever. She wants Whitney out next. I mean, like, I suppose this is cool. Like Xavier was very funny. I hate calling him X because I always mix him up with Derek X. So whatever. Yeah. But he was very funny, and I thought he did it in a way that it didn't make Azah feel awkward. Like I'm sure she felt awkward, but like he kind of played it off in a way like me, are you sure? Like come on. Like I thought it was well done. Yes. But yeah, and I love Oz's confessionals. Can we talk quickly about the confessionals this episode?
Oh my god,
stilted as fuck. I mean, literally handing people lines to read, so fucking obvious. I can't even remember the worst ones, but they were terrible. I didn't.
The moonwalking into X's arms. She did that every time. God. I mean, come on, that was completely from the heart.
Yes. I thought Azah had a funny line there of the quote, call me petty, but I guess that's what I am. And I immediately thought of Brent. The minute I heard that, I thought of Brent, and I was like, oh my God, that is Brent Wolgamott right there in front of me.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, obviously, it reminded me of Ica. So, like, I was
okay, fair.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, she's like, I'm petty. That's like, I mean, and I'm human. I thought that was the best thing she said. Because, like, let's be real, she hasn't played a great game, but her position,
it's a bad game. It's not great. It's bad.
Her position is so good, though. So like, I still feel like I got good thoughts, and she has good like what I just said. She like Azah has good thoughts every now and then. It's not like she's completely horrible all the time. So we'll see.
Yeah, when she's not asking to go on the block, she's doing okay.
Right, I know, right? Yeah.
All right, so let's move along. Let's get to the veto draw. We see Azah, Derek X, and Claire all chosen to be a part of this veto. And then we're going to get right into the veto competition. But before we do, let's get into our first break of the day. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
The Olympics, Euros, baseball, major championships, and concerts are all in this summer. But you know what isn't? A wild and hairy bush. Tame your pubes with help from our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Their 4th-generation performance package includes the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. If an athlete treats their body like royalty, why not treat your pubes like Olympic gold? Fellas, do right by your balls and join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com with the code SURVIVOR.
Brent, if you're paying attention right now, I know that you've probably had a mishap in the past and you've been trimming down there with not the tools for the job. Well, Brent, that's right. I'm talking to you. I have come to save you, but not just me. The folks at Manscaped. The world is starting to open up, and the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is here to help you get ready. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, plus 2 free gifts. What's that, you ask? Performance boxer briefs and the Shed travel bag.
Talk about a world-class dismount into the post-quarantine world. This package is the perfect package for your package and peak performance in whatever sport you desire. Wink, wink. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take the podium. This 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on-off switch. You can engage a travel lock and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? Michael Phelps is drooling just thinking about the possibilities.
Now, this package also comes with the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top in both your nose and ear. This tool is a lock to take home gold in the biathlon. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motored 360-degree rotary dual blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent against nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes.
After trimming your pubes, show them some sportsmanship with Manscaped's liquid formulations. The Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner are the key to feeling victorious this year. Manscaped's also throwing in 2 free gifts to the Performance Package 4.0. That's the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed travel bag.
Now, go right now to get 20% off and free shipping using promo code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off, free shipping with promo code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. Achieve pubic glory this year with Manscaped.
Lucy Nicotine is a company founded by Caltech scientists and former smokers looking for a better and cleaner nicotine alternative. Finally, tobacco alternatives that don't suck.
Researched and developed for 3 years to be made for people, not patients. Lucy has created a nicotine gum with 4 milligrams of nicotine that comes in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Lucy also has a lozenge with 4 milligrams of nicotine in cherry ice flavor. Each and every flavor actually tastes great, and it's convenient and discreet. Products can be enjoyed anywhere, on flights, at work, on the go, or even in the gym.
I am so happy that Lucy is sponsoring us. Ever since they came on board, I have gotten no less than 5 of my friends transitioned over to Lucy and put their cigarettes down. They like the gum. I'm used to seeing the packages all around. This stuff is great, and it's really helping people make much healthier choices. So get on board and join the Lucy movement.
Hey, it's 2021. Get rid of your cigarettes, unplug your vape, throw out your dip, and get some Lucy nicotine gum or lozenges. This is the real deal. A subscription to Lucy comes directly to your door each month. It's so simple that you don't even have to leave your house because Lucy has delivery down.
Reality NSFW listeners, go to lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR to get 20% off all products, including gum or lozenges. That's lucy.co and use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Also, I have to give this disclaimer. Warning, this product contains nicotine derived from tobacco. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's lucy.co, and be sure to use that promo code SURVIVOR.
All right, guys, we are back. And before we get into the veto competition, there was one little note to add where you see the steps coming into fruition for Sarah Beth right after the draw, where she really shows her displeasure in not being the only one not chosen for veto all season long. And this really rubs Tiffany the wrong way.
Whatever, literally everything's rubbing Tiffany the wrong way about Sarah Beth. Like, seriously, ever since that happened with the Kings and Queens, with the Royal Flush Gang, talking about and her arguing for Hannah to be, and they got into it a little bit with Tiffany and Kylan firing back. Well, it makes you look like you're arguing for Whitney. If we're arguing for Hannah, you're arguing for Whitney. Ever since that happened, Tiffany has had it out for Sarah Beth. Everything that Sarah Beth does annoys Tiffany to no end. This was just one of many things that has occurred this week that is annoying her. So there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into the veto competition, where we see Bump Set Veto, a staple in the Big Brother house that we've seen year after year. What are your guys' thoughts on this competition as a whole? Do you guys enjoy it?
It looked harder, Alex, because of the net. Like, I think when Amanda Zuckerman won this competition, she just had to run back and forth. And in fact, I think I can't even remember if they had a glass thing over it. Like, there was something else that they didn't have that made this so much harder, because I can't even imagine running back and forth 100 times and also getting that ball to go up over the thing, which of course the worst thing that it can happen is you push it up the thing, you start running, and then the ball doesn't go up the thing and you have to run back to try to catch it, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. So the thing that makes it the worst was that net that you have to constantly bend down to get under. This looked like a really tough competition. If I was Whitney, and this was the competition that I had to win to save my ass in the Big Brother house, I'd be bitter. I really would be. Yeah.
I think what was interesting is that, as far as I could tell, the nets were all at the same height. So that really screwed a person like Claire, and it kind of screwed a person like Christian. It just didn't matter because Christian's good at everything. And is basically not human. But boy, do they need to adjust those nets in the future for doing that again. Because I liked this setup. I like you're making them duck. I like the system of not you drop once you're out. I like you have to get to 100. But boy, was Claire screwed by this. And not she was going to win anyway.
Do we know how long this took, by the way? Because I'm thinking it probably didn't take too long, as long as you didn't screw up a lot. By the way, I don't know. I'm guessing, by the looks on your faces, I'm guessing we don't know. But I will say, I thought it was funny that every time we cut to Whitney, her score was 3 or 4, and then her ball would drop and she'd be like, great, I have to start again. I'm like, girl, you're basically at 0. What the fuck? There's this is you're just play acting at this point. There's no difference substantively between 0 and anywhere under 10. I'm just saying.
Well, and you can see that the producers are struggling, that they can't hide a blowout coming in these competitions this year. We saw it just on Sunday night, where Claire was the only one who got past the halfway point with her ball on the platform the entire time. You literally knew who was going to win the entire competition, because she's the only one that could get to the end of the damn puzzle. It was just so obvious. There's no way to really build the suspense or momentum. You knew this was going to come down to Christian or Derek X, with maybe Azah pulling it out. But man, after seeing how slow she went in that last competition, I didn't have faith.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously I knew watching this on TV that Christian had won the veto, but in my heart of hearts, I'm still rooting for Derek X, and I'm because I wanted to see him just do something for himself and take Hannah off the block and piss some people off. I wanted to see that happen. Of course, I knew he wasn't going to win, but still, I wanted to see him take Hannah off the block. I love them together. They're so cute. Can we just keep them in the house forever? Because I think they're very fun.
Can we save that as a clip for when they're in the house at Final 5 and Brent is ranting about how annoyed he is with them? Please.
That's fair. I don't think I could be mad at Derek X. And I'm not into him. Amon is way into him. He wants his body. He wants him.
I understand it.
I wouldn't throw him out of bed, but I think he's I just think he's adorable, like in a very like non-sexual way. Like I think he's just such a great guy, and I'm really hoping that. Like I kind of feel like Tiffany, where Tiffany was like, I think she said this to the cameras. Didn't she say this to the cameras? Where she was like, or maybe she said this to him. I can't remember. Like she's like, I would vote for you. Yeah, she said this to him. I'd vote for you if you make it to the end. And then like, I'm pretty sure she's also said it to the cameras where she's like, if they can outplay the cookout and get to the end, like I might vote for them. Like, so I kind of feel like that too. Like he's really cool.
Yeah, even I have a man crush going for him. So I mean, he works for everyone. Honestly, he's just so likable that it's hard not to be rooting for him.
Exactly. Like I won't say Heather says the only showmans I've ever truly rooted for. Obviously, I love Brendan and Rachel, and I like a few other showmances, but this is one I'm definitely rooting for. They're very cute.
And really quickly back to the whole height thing. I agree with you on the net. Like, there's no way that the net should be the same distance for every single person in this house. Like right here, Partly Cloudy says, yes, Survivor measures you for height. I remember
that's Survivor, bitch.
I remember Tyson talking about this on a podcast, that he would tell the producers, I believe, that he was a few inches taller just so that he knew he had room to be able to maneuver in these competitions, knowing they'd go based off the height that he gives. It was either taller or small or shorter. One of the ways that it was going to benefit him in the competitions, because he said that. So, yeah, I agree that I think that's kind of ridiculous. Yes. It's the same height for everyone.
Michael, I see you. Yes, I'm a big fan of Justin Cody. There are some other showmances I've been a fan of, but like I'd say I'm about 50-50 on my showmances. Like
Zanky. I mean, obviously.
I hated both of them. I
know.
I wanted to grudge fuck Zach Rance. Like I would have grudge fucked him. Okay. But no, I was under showmans. That was yuck, terrible. Yeah.
Only here at Reality NFSW.
Thank you, right? My mom was complaining about that. My mom was telling my mom's like, how's the podcast? We just had this conversation tonight. How's the podcast going? I'm like, oh, Mom, it's good. It's good. I'm having fun with Bobby. We're actually going to have Alex on the podcast tonight from a couple weeks ago. She's like, good. She's like, like I watched a couple other podcasts on there, and, that Fair Play, like he's a little vulgar.
She should try watching Survivor Pearl Islands.
Right. I know, right? I'm like, Mom, have you met your son? Like, come on, like I can get vulgar too. Like, I can get vulgar too. What the fuck? Like,
it's so funny you say that, because I was literally talking to my mom this week, and she's just like, I checked your podcast for the first time. Because she's a super casual, and she's like, I really enjoyed it, but honey, can you be easy on your cussing? You do have a little daughter to think of. I was like, Mom, I am going tame. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's not you. Yeah.
And I have a very, very similar story. I got my aunt was like, oh my God, you're on a podcast. I need to watch it. And then I was like, yeah, just a warning. There's some cursing. And she's like, oh, this is great. I wish I could show your grandparents, but no, there's way too much. I'm like, I was trying to be good, but Brent gets me riled up.
Yes, you're trying. Yes. So
God bless our mothers.
Yes. Okay. So what else do we have to talk about for this episode? Yeah, Ozzy gets her way. Christian wins the veto.
Yes. So let's just jump to the end of it. To be honestly, they yada yada the whole episode. Let's yada yada the rest of it. Basically, everything goes to fruition. We see Whitney stay on the block no matter how much campaigning she does. The one thing I do want to bring up from the episode is Derek X really slips up by saying about Whitney. That painted such a big target on him by Whitney, and she was just eager and had her claws set and running to just dismantle his game. I didn't think what he said was terrible, but at the same time, you do need to watch yourself. The smallest slip up like that can really, really ruin your game.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's learning on the fly. I mean, like that's the thing. He is learning this game on the fly. And I guarantee you the other people who are real players in this house would know not to do something like that with the other person still in the room. It is an easy mistake to make, though. And when you're a player who's learning the game on the fly, that's the kind of mistakes that are going to be made. And he's lucky, from my perspective, that Whitney is going to go out pre-jury and is not going to be coming back into the game. Like, there's no way she's coming back. She's going home, and he's going to be rid of her in about like 24 hours. So, this one's like, we'll give you this one, DX, but the next one, you're going to have to own your shit.
Yeah. And DX, I mean, like you said, he's picking up the game as he goes. Like, God bless him. It's so funny because he's so rootable because of the way he just reacted to the whole situation. He's just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel so terrible. I'll make you whatever you want.
I'm a terrible person. And he was like, get over his head.
That would be me. That would be like
that just crushed my heart. If I were Whitney, I'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. Like in my heart of hearts, like it really upset me. But yeah, in this game, you got to be brutal.
Nothing you can do. You just own your shit. Yeah.
I would probably be acting like both of them if I was in both of their situations. If I'm Derek X and I slip up, I'd be like, "Oh my god, my game is over. I'm sorry. If I'm Whitney, I'd be like, "Go fuck yourself. I hate your guts. You are terrible. Right? How could you do such a thing?"
By the way, while we're talking about incredulity, let me just say I did not get Whitney in the diary room earlier in the episode when the veto draw was happening, and she said that when Hannah got house choice and she picked DX. She's like, I feel so betrayed. I'm like, but betrayed? What are you talking about? Like, you're both on the block.
Isn't this what you want?
Hannah is trying to get off the block. What are you talking? Like, what?
She's got to play her game too.
If she wants any shot to stay, she needs to be up against somebody who's not on her team.
Right.
It is the only shot she has.
And plus, it can benefit you that maybe a bigger target presents themselves if they're willing to take a shot at someone in backdoor.
While I'm bagging on Whitney, I'll also say, getting DX up on the block doesn't help her because that's still two people from her team. She's still going to go home from my perspective. Also, the fact that she was going to Christian, campaigning for him to backdoor the most athletic guy in the house who's not named as Christian was a terrible plan. I know you're mad at DX, but look at somebody else. There has to be some other target besides, because there's no way Christian's going to take out somebody who is as threatening as DX is, because that opens Christian up to literally being backdoored in like a half second.
I think there's a glimmer of hope it works because Christian isn't the smartest tool in the shed. However, if you want to make a move, I think her move right there is to basically try to still paint the target on Hannah and have him use the veto on her and put up like a Brittany or something who wouldn't go home and say, you need to get Hannah out. Because if she knows anything, he was thinking it. He was thinking it hard. Hannah didn't at least campaign enough at the end to convince him not to put her up. Hannah's up as the target. So I feel like she needs to do everything she can to not only get herself up, but get somebody in her place who wouldn't go home.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, all right. So we get to the end of the episode. The veto is not used by Christian. His nominations will stay the same. Doesn't want to get any more blood on his hands. And he wants to take out the house target. Whitney should be the one going home this week unless something crazy happens in the next 24 hours. What do you guys think about going into next week? What are your thoughts?
No, I do want to just add one thing. I don't know if you guys heard it, but at the end of the episode when the announcer was saying who's going to go home, I kept hearing him say Whitney. Like if we're going back to Big Brother over the top, it was just like the intentional, like Whitney again.
And I'm just way?
Yes.
I mean, Whitney's going home.
Whitney's
Hannah
going
sane.
home.
Like
she's not even trying. She's laying down and dying. She's gone and she knows it.
She's gone.
I'm
and
just
she
like
knows
fight a little.
Yeah,
I don't want you to stay. I'm happy.
She said she would.
Yeah, that's why fans are feeling like the season is a little boring, and there are elements to the season that are boring. I'll put it that way. There are elements to the season that are boring. I said last week that this week, I remember on the I was on the podcast last week, and I said this week, if it doesn't happen this week, as in today, then it'll happen the following week. But now I'm not so sure about that anymore. Like, I still think there's a way it could be even more boring next week, where somebody wins, Sarah Beth goes on the block, Sarah Beth goes home. Like, I feel like that could happen. And I'm like, how much longer do I have to wait until something happens where not everything is decided by Saturday night? Like, how long do I have to wait until that happens? Because for my money, there are elements to this that are a little boring. Obviously, it's amazing to see 6 black players running the fucking game. That is like just mind-blowingly cool. But invariably, with anybody that I'm rooting for in a reality game, you want them to sweat. Yeah, you want them to sweat. And I don't know who I'm talking about here. Maybe I'm talking about Tiffany, because I don't really want to see Tiffany sweat.
I want the whole cookout to sweat.
You want a back and forth. You want a back and forth. You want one person to go with one week from one side and then the other.
I don't want them necessarily to go, but I want them to sweat. Like,
I want one of them to go.
I want one of them to go.
I want DF to go. That's fair. And Azza, no, I like her. If I had to be like up, like if I'm giving 10s or 1s to Azza, I'd rather give her a 10 than a 1 because I really like her. But it's not it's not pretty.
I just like two sides of the house battling each other where it goes back and forth and it's unpredictable.
But how
That's
do they
what I like
do
to
that,
see.
though? Like, can we just talk about that? Because, like, I'm being real with you guys. Like, I listened to the RHAP Roundtable last night, and, you know, God knows I love Melissa Denny. Love her. But, like, I saw her, like stumbling all over herself, trying to say in a politically correct way what's happening here and what the other house guests should do about it. And how, like, basically, like, how do you even get to the point where you realize that what is happening is happening? If you were a non-Black house guest playing the game like Claire or Sarah Beth, what do you do this season? Because we've seen in other past seasons where people say, well, you know, like that, and that's so true. Like, you know, you shouldn't put two Black players together just because they're Black. But yet this season, that's almost what is required of these players in order for them to figure out the power structure of the game. I don't know how to answer that question. I really don't.
There's no good answer.
I think there is no good answer. I think what's so tough is that these guys don't meet. You never see them together. You're always going to put people together that you physically see together. There is no logical argument why these six would work together because you never see them together. And you know they're already not getting along super well.
Right. And I also feel like because of that, there's the only way you would be able to put them together is by falling back on myths or legend. Like, well, that's just what people have done in the past. But I don't feel like these players would say that, which then requires them to go a step further and make up another excuse, which gets even more awkward. So I see Heather in the chat saying Claire knows with capital K-N-O-S, whatever, knows that they're playing together. It's right there on the screen. I can't spell it. She knows they're playing together. And I do believe you're correct. I think Claire knows in her heart of hearts what's up. But how does she handle that?
There's no good
to even
way.
broach the topic invites all litany of social media outrage. I
couldn't be in the house. I mean, this is such a difficult thing to even like talk about because it's not something we're used to, and it's great to see. But at the same time, if you're a player in the house who supports that and sees it, but doesn't want to be the one to say anything about it, you don't want to put that out there and be someone that's maybe portrayed in the wrong way for really just seeing what's actually in front of you. Yep. And it could be completely unconditionally, you know, normal and trying to be very polite about it. But even the slightest thing you say or do could be totally turned around and used against you. And that's where I find it to be tough in this house. And it's unfortunate because it shouldn't be in this way. But yet it is this way. And it goes both ways. Like, I don't know how to even approach it, talking about it as someone who watches the show.
Like, we feel uncomfortable just talking about it. And I want to be respectful of people of color and other Black people who are watching the podcast and listening, who are going like, because I've gotten this on Twitter, like, let Black people handle Black people's business. And I'm like, well, I'm not talking about Black people's business. I'm talking about the white people over here. How do they react? How does somebody like Sarah Beth, who's watched all these seasons of Big Brother, somebody like Claire, who follows me on Twitter, that's not a name drop. I'm just saying, I'm trying to point out that's the kind of fan that she is, right? Mm-hmm. How do they handle this? I feel like they're in a bit of a no-win situation.
And we're three white dudes talking about it on a podcast and having trouble talking about it. Imagine the spotlight of being someone in that house, seeing it, but doesn't want to do anything, even to the detriment of their own game.
Yep.
Because that's literally a $750,000 decision.
Right? I feel like you would literally just have to make it up. You would literally have to put up like X and Kai and say, well, I think you two are working together because I saw you talking in the cupboard or something. Like something stupid like that is what's going to have to suffice if you're able to figure out what's going on. But again, how can they figure out what's going on without being basically a little bit racist by assuming that all the Black people are working together? I don't think how can they figure that out? Yeah. Like, come on.
How are you supposed to figure out that an alliance
to give them credit?
They're doing well.
That's the ingenuity of it, that they all really don't have any things in common. Like I think it was Melissa who said that all the people, because she never wanted to say race, But that is why they're working together. It's not their backgrounds, because she said backgrounds. They're working together because similar backgrounds. But I'm like, no, like Derek F has nothing in common with Xavier. I'm sorry, he does not. He does not have any background in common with him lifestyle wise with Xavier. There's just nothing there that I can see besides the fact that they're both two black men. And I get that from their perspective, that they get each other, but I don't know how the other house guests deal with that. I just don't.
It's got to be something, honestly, that's just going to happen. You're going to have to honestly take the shot and don't ever even bring up why. Because you can't even talk about that you even notice that. Just say, hey, these are my targets because I think they're strong competitors, but don't ever bring up, I think it's like this because I think they might be working together. That's the only way around it.
I think at some point you're going to see, you definitely see pieces of the cookout talking and making plans. And I almost think you have to say at this point, like, here are the two strongest people, like either in this big alliance or in this group, and that happen to be in the cookout. And hopefully you get lucky and they're in the cookout or something.
Can I ask you a question? So do you feel like that we're going to get a Brittany moment where they sit the last non-cookout member down and tell them what's up? Do you feel like we're going to get that?
No. I don't think we get that far. I don't think we get that far with all.
I don't think.
By the way, I want to say really quickly what I'm thinking about. I was really glad to see Azza in the diary room count Hannah as part of the cookout, because I really haven't heard her do that much. I was glad to see.
She hasn't been doing it.
Well, I know, but she did it in the diary room.
Okay, in the diary, because they tell her to. Because if you say there are 5 people in the alliance plus 1, everyone's just like, what the hell is she talking about? 5 plus 1 makes 6.
You're right, they told her to. You're right.
Come on.
100%.
I know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good on them for being able to hide it as well as they do and not bringing up and not really, mesh together in one area and really huddle themselves away. They have their side alliances. They have
it's so amazing
everything.
too. Yeah, because some of them don't get along. Like Tiffany and Azza, honey, like they're like oil and water.
They don't get along.
They do not get along. But I feel like that they have each other's back. I do.
Yeah, because of shared experiences. Like, they might not have similarities in the outside world, but they have shared experiences in life because of the color of their skin. And that's a blessing to see, but it's hard for the other house guests to really pinpoint that and use that against them in any way, in any capacity, be, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
I think what's so interesting is the way that the person who's been constantly kind of mentioning Hannah as part of the cookout to Azza has been Tiffany. And I think that's such a good job by Tiffany this week. Yes, she's maybe losing Kylan a little bit, but she has reeled in Hannah so tight that I think Hannah would maybe even go with her before she goes with Derek X. And everything that Derek X is telling her, she just may run back to Tiffany. And he needs to be really, really careful of that, because Tiffany's just getting her claws into everybody one by one by one by one. And it's just amazing how she's doing it. And I think Derek X really needs to watch out because she's just taking Hannah away from him bit by bit by bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
Yeah.
So anything else you guys want to go into? Maybe anything from next week or for this week that you want to discuss?
2 things. One, who do we think has the best odds to win the wall comp, and who are they putting up? That I really want to dive deep into, I think.
Alyssa?
Yeah.
I feel like would be Brittany. I think she's probably too heavy. She's a thick girl. I mean, not that she couldn't win it. Like, and also the wall comps are a little different than like wall comps of years past. Okay. So who knows?
So going through people. Azza, I think, has a decent shot. I think correct me if I'm wrong, Azza's a little tall, and I know being tall hurts you in a wall comp.
Yeah, I don't think so. Also, her arms are so thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Claire's way too tall.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. Brittany's going to kill this thing.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right. Oh, my God. I hope she does. I hope she does.
You know what? If Brittany wins this, even if she's putting up Derek X, which I don't want her to, but I think she would.
Yeah.
You know what? Fine. That would be hilarious. But I think Tiffany could win this.
Tiffany, Alyssa
to an extent. Who else? Derek X, I think, has a really good shot to win this, as does Hannah.
Derek X, yeah.
Derek
X for sure.
So Doug says that Alyssa's in a must-win situation. See, but I don't feel like she is, though.
No, she's absolutely not. The only people coming after her at this point are Azza, maybe Claire, and I've really got nobody else. I guess Kylan, if he's coming after Christian, and Kylan and Derek are going to maybe go after her by association. But somehow she's not in that position. And
Hannah could win. I saw how they're talking about Hannah.
Hannah absolutely could win.
That would be great. I would love See, by the way, it's been all men winners this season in Veto and weird. HOH. Right?
We've had all men go home up till now.
That's fair. Yes.
Yeah, it has been all men.
Yes. I'm just going through like yes.
Yeah. So who do we want? Yeah, what is best case scenario for next week? Because there are some really good scenarios. There are some scenarios that are just cut, dry, and boring.
I want to see Derek X. I think Derek X possibly nominating Christian. I think that can make for great drama this week and really kind of open the game up a little bit more if he actually pulls the trigger.
I think he could be persuaded against doing that because he might feel like that Christian is his shield at this point.
But then who does he?
He would be right not. He would be right.
He'd be right not to. But I don't know if he's savvy enough. Like yet, he's too novice at the game.
So Robert,
who does he?
Oh, go ahead.
Who does he put up if he's convinced to not put up Christian? Who does he go after? Because he then is probably not going after anybody in the Royal Flush. And who is he left with? The Jokers? Is he really just going to put up Brittany? Brittany and Big D is a big move. Yeah,
I'm just like,
which could help him. But
I'm like looking at Xavier, who I feel like is playing the best game in the house. I know you guys disagree. That's fine. But I'm like, does nobody think about like wanting to put him up? Like he is an absolute beast. No. He is so cool. Like everybody loves him. Like he could obviously win the game. Why is no one thinking of putting him up who's not in the cookout?
Because everyone loves him. Everyone just enjoys being around him. And he's got enough good graces with everyone that no one even sees him as a target. Mm-hmm. They just see him as someone that they're able to easily work with and long-term in this game.
I will say he'd be able to work me. Like he is such.
He's so approachable.
Well, yeah. Okay. Like he's a man. He's a man. Like, come on.
And there's a lot of people in this world that they just, for whatever reason, are not approachable. And we've seen it time after time in this game that you can't even go and have a conversation with them if they don't think they can even work with you in any capacity. X is completely different in this game where he is just someone that even if he's not working with you, he'll talk to you about life or whatever's on your mind. He'll hear you out. He's an attorney all the way around. He wants he listens and then he reacts.
He is very good.
I agree with you, Boston. Boston is the best comment of the night. At the very, she just said it a second ago. They all like each other too much this season. I concur. That's why I'm actually like living for the fact that Tiffany has been hating on Sarah Beth lately, because I need a little bit more angst in my Big Brother. There's not been a lot of drama. Give me some fucking drama. I like the fact when Brittany was like cavorting about being up on the block and crying about it in the diary room. Like that was great to me. I love stuff like that. That's funny. This episode was so fucking boring.
It's so boring.
So fucking boring.
Oh my
God.
I
saw that the Olympic ratings were down. I would not be surprised if Big Brother ratings are down. Like so boring.
The Olympics are back up.
Oh God.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a comment in the chat that Alyssa winning would also be interesting because she's probably going after Azza and seeing the way that Tiffany would fight or not fight to keep Azza would be interesting.
That would be good for Claire if from my perspective, if Alyssa won, as long as she doesn't target Claire, which I don't think she would do, but Alyssa winning would almost cement in my mind that once jury starts the following week, that Christian and Alyssa would be the nominees, and Claire would. So that's when Claire is vulnerable. Basically, I don't want Claire to pull a Netta and be evicted right at the moment that her safety ends. Like I feel like that's probably going to happen.
I don't think she can as much because she at least like won something to get the safety and she kind of earned it. Whereas in BB Can 5, once Netta was voted to be safe by Canada first week, and she was safe for a month. Whereas Claire is like essentially safe for a week because like this week she was not going anywhere anyway. And so it's like,
I know.
Really safe? No, but I definitely think she needs to wake up quickly to the fact that Tiffany is on her. And she knows it. I think what's so good is that she knows it. She knows like where she's strong. She knows where she's weak. But I definitely think her biggest weakness right now that she doesn't realize is that Tiffany wants her out and wants her out sooner rather than later.
Which is a huge mistake. Tiffany, I don't understand what Tiffany's doing. Tiffany wants like DX and Christian and Claire, not necessarily in that order, out once jury starts. And I'm like leaving people like Alyssa, Brittany, and Derek F in the game, people that she cannot control, where she has currency with the first 3 people that I mentioned. Why in the world would you want to get rid of, like, she's cutting off her nose to spite her face. She's cutting off herself at her ankles, whatever metaphor you want to think about. She's playing terrible if that's what she ultimately ends up doing, because she's controlling who has been leaving every week. And if that's what she wants to have happen and that happens, that's terrible.
And by the way, the whole competition on Sunday where she got to choose safety for her teammates or safety for herself till jury, there should have been such a better circumstance for that, like that choice to be made. Like, it should not have come down to, well, you'll get safety till jury, or you give your teammates safety for 1 week. Like, they could have come up with such a better counter like argument for that choice. It was clear as day what to choose. There was no choice other than safety till jury.
I'm curious what a player like like Whitney would have done if she won it, knowing the fact that her team is being targeted. I think that would have been interesting. Or say like the Kings were the target, like they didn't win HOH, and Christian wins that. What does he do? Because I think he's a person who makes that decision interesting. Whereas Claire is just so logical that there is no thought for her, and also her team isn't going anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
Tracy says that Claire needs an HOH to gain house knowledge.
She needs agency.
That might help, even though she's safe. Maybe winning HOH not necessarily bad for her.
Yeah, but see, I agree.
You don't want to be evicted right when your safety goes out, and you could use the HOH to make some deals.
I agree with Alex here. It says Claire has no business winning HOH. It would just waste her safety.
I feel like you have to think of 3D chess in this instance.
Yes, it would make sense. I think there are reasons for her not to win it because she's effectively safe and isn't gaining a ton. However, though, if she wins HOH, fully realizes the cookouts, I think, and gets one of them out, then that move is good for her. But I do think if she doesn't make that move and get a member of the cookout out, she is gone next week when she can't win HOH because she's just magnifying her target when she doesn't need to, and then not having the safety the following week. But I think
Sorry, I feel like winning anything this week would really just it be all for nothing when you don't need to, and you can use the fact that you're safe to make grounds in this game. No one can come after you, so use that time to really make alliances with your social game rather than actually having to play, a competitive game.
I agree with you to an extent. I still think there is no better position in the game to make those moves than as HOH. The way you can create agency in this game like that is by winning HOH, and that's where I think the benefit could be for her to win it. If she wasn't safe, I say she should absolutely be gunning for it as hard as she possibly can. The fact that she's safe is giving me the okay, she's fine if she doesn't win it, but her job is a little bit easier, I think, if she does win it, if she wins it and plays it right.
How many weeks do we have left till jury? One more week?
One
more week. Okay.
If they're going on the typical schedule, then
exactly. Yeah.
And someone brought up earlier in the chat that there's no buyback this year because of COVID. So I don't know if that's true or not, but
that's spoiler girl. That sounds like spoiler girl.
Yeah, that is spoiler girl nonsense.
That sounds like some BS.
They might do something that they did with a BB can of we'll have 2 people go out in the same night, sequester them, make them put on a mask, whatever.
I can see that. Yeah.
And then have them go back in. Please don't do that. Please do not do a fake double eviction. I will go fucking crazy if they do another fake double eviction. That is just one of the worst things in the world.
I hate fake double evictions. The one that happened on Canada actually ended up not totally irritating.
Just because we got lucky.
We got lucky. Yes, we did.
We just got a little bit lucky with that.
Yes, we did.
It's still almost wasted, and it kind of did even at least kill the momentum of one of the most ridiculous weeks in the world, where every single player in the final 7 made a completely boneheaded move. Every single one of them. It was glorious. And it's that person might just get back in the game anyway. And you're just what the fuck?
By the way, I just want to say, y'all, for real, I don't know if she's out there, but talking about spoiler girl, we did not know how good we had it when Vegas
I was
going to
do the same thing.
We did not know how good we had it when Vegas was around. Vegas talked to me. She followed me. Vegas fucking love you, man, girl, whoever. Really, honestly, had the best time ever. And then she was gone. like she was gone.
Never to be seen or heard
and then,
from again.
This cheap imitation spoiler girl who is clearly not a spoiler on Twitter. But like a Vegas man. Those were good times. That Big Brother Over the Top, like there were so many good.
All right, we have different definitions of fun when you mention Big Brother Over the Top.
I feel like Grodner went straight like gangsta and just took her out because we haven't heard a peep from Real Vegas.
Right, made her sign a non-disclosure. Here's your money. You got to shut up for 2 years.
Get out of here. Oh yeah, no, like that's no.
Oh, Grodner. That would be the most in tune with social media that Grodner ever was. So I don't want to give her that much credit. But. What I do want to posit that's interesting, I think, is that if you look at a lot of players that are like coupled up in this game, if you think about them, if you think about them in their position, you might also think that them losing their best ally might help them whether they realize it or not. And I'm like thinking about that more and more. It's like, for example, I think if you have Alyssa and Christian, I think if Christian goes, Alyssa's in a much better position. With Kylan and Sarah Beth, if Sarah Beth goes, I think Kylan can also wake the fuck up and be in a much better position. And I think almost the same thing with Derek X and Hannah, whereas Derek X isn't so focused on Hannah. He can really explode and be the social butterfly that he's proven himself to be.
And that usually happens a lot of Big Brother.
It's just so interesting.
So pronounced this year, yeah.
This season, how pronounced it is and how many people this applies to.
Alex, are you spoiler girl? Are you,
I wish.
I wish. We finally figured it out. We finally were able to figure out who the soap opera / Big Brother spoiler feed was.
Oh, I wish.
Oh man, yeah, I don't have enough insights.
Listen, if I was spoiler girl, I would actually come up with like more relevant and accurate information.
Right?
First of all,
she's the spoiler girl. Like, come on. I'm not trying to troll her.
I'm seeing her Survivor tweet. I'm seeing her Survivor tweets. They're so realistic. Like, come on.
Oh my God.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Yeah. And I had hope. I was like, oh, we've got a new Vegas for sure on here. But no, it's
Vegas, real Vegas for sure. I can remember like her exact Twitter name. Thank you.
Yeah, real Vegas for sure.
So spoiler
with the picture of Rachel Riley.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, that was the best.
Spoiler Girl's tweets are literally just like, okay, all right, the next Survivor season is going to be returns. Oh wait, no, not then the next one. Wait, no, then the next one, and just continue. And it's like none of this makes sense.
She said, it's like literally speculation.
Her supposed Big Brother. Oh, I think they're going to move into the house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know.
There are players in the game. It's
like I'll admit I follow Spoiler Girl just for the laughs.
I do too.
Like just for the laughs. Yeah.
Just and I love I love reading these articles that are just like they're like, Big Brother's considering this thing, and then I read the tweet. I'm like, oh, it's from Spoiler Girl. Why is anybody like? It just annoys me more than anything at this point that like people are giving. This human, if it's even
fun.
human.
No one's gonna cut this and send it to Spoiler Girl on Twitter too. Watch, it's gonna end up in the timeline.
Spoiler Girl, you're hilarious. Okay, I will give you that.
We enjoy it, but
I'll enjoy it while I have it. You know what? Fine, but like,
yeah.
Man, so yes.
All right, that just explains. Sorry.
What's the worst case scenario for next week? Because I think there are a couple. Just absolutely awful scenarios.
Okay, well, tell us what they are. Don't leave us hanging. What's awful?
I mean, I think if Sarah Beth wins HOH, that's just very boring because she's going for Hannah cut and dry. I think almost.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic because she.
Why? You know what's happening?
No, because she might actually put up somebody who is not in the cookout next to Hannah, and then the cookout might have to show their numbers, which they don't want to do. I feel like that is.
She's putting up Hannah and Derek X. How exciting is that?
That is stupendous.
Is it really though? Is it stupendous when we know what would happen?
As long as it's not Derek X, because she probably would.
But it would be Derek X.
It would be Derek
There's nothing else saying that
he's going to have to win the veto. Yeah.
I mean, who else is like?
What about Derek F? HOH? Like first off,
the one thing that's interesting
that would be awful.
The one thing that's interesting about Derek F, besides the fact that like I hate that he ruined our blindside last week. So
I'm so mad.
Oh my God. And I agree with Taryn that he's dead to me. He's so dead to me, even though it's like, I kind of love how bad he is at the game. It's kind of funny and endearing to me in a way.
But he's going to the end. Like, he's literally the GOAT. Like, you might as well, like, do they get, what, $50,000? It's the same. It's not $75,000, I'm assuming. Like,
I think it's I think we guess it's 50.
Like, I'm just so mad that he's going to get that. He's going to get that. He's getting second place. Like mark it down. Unless somebody does something and realizes he's the GOAT, he's the Courtney that everyone's taking to the end. Hello, Kagayan. Or not Kagayan. Oh God, I just mixed up. Survivor. Panama. God,
yeah,
I cannot remember. Yes, I said Cayenne. I meant Panama. Not even in the same decade, Brent. Oh my God. Yes, the Courtney that Sari took out. That's what I'm saying. She realized she was a goat. She took her out. Somebody needs to take out Derek F because he is the obvious goat. Yeah. But how do you get him out? I feel like maybe the only way he's going home is if you put him up next to another member of the cookout, specifically like Azza. I feel like, but even then it's dicey. Like, I feel like Azza might go home. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, well, whatever. I want him to go home, but he's not going to go home. So whatever.
I don't see who he goes home against. I just don't see anyone.
Like Azza. It has to be Azza.
Maybe Brittany, because Brittany's that perpetual pawn. But I think
I think they'd cut Brittany. They'd cut Brittany. For sure.
I guess. But at this point,
he's got the cookout behind him. Yeah. It has to be someone from the cookout and someone maybe like Xavier. Like, that's the only person I could see in Azza, maybe.
I said Azza for different reasons. Azza because I feel like that she's somebody that people would see as more beatable, but actually I think that's wrong in hindsight. I feel like that Xavier is probably the person to put up because I feel like he has the social connections and people like him enough where they would want to keep him, even though they shouldn't be keeping him. But these people want to keep him. So that might be the person that you need to put him up against.
Xavier would be the only one I could really see for sure. I mean, imagine if we get an Azza Derek F final two. Like, oh my God. It's possible the way that this house is going. It's not terrible because I like them.
I don't think either of them are smart enough to get themselves to the end of the game. Because at that point they have to do some of the heavy lifting, and I don't think either of them could lift a damn thing because they're just going to say, "Oh, take me out" or something stupid. And I also think something that's unnoticed is that like Derek F is running out of cigarettes because he didn't pack well enough. And oh boy, I think when he's like really under nicotine withdrawal, how insufferable he's going to be to everybody. And I think that's almost going to take him out of the game.
He's actually handled being on slop this week better than I thought he would. But imagine if he like runs out of cigarettes and is on slop.
Oh my gosh. He's already getting insufferable. I don't know how many. Does anyone know what number he's down to? Because it's like very little.
Who?
I know in terms of cigarettes.
I'm sure they would get him like a nicotine patch or something.
They would get him a nicotine patch, but I almost think like we've seen like I think he's going to go under like a Shane Powers but less cool like withdrawal of just being insufferable, but not at least being the cool, like Shane Powers is inventing a BlackBerry made of like a rock. So it's just like, but I do think there's potential for it to be fun. I think he. Like,
what are you talking about? Like Derek F going on slop again, or what? What
Derek F with the nicotine withdrawal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was reading.
Yeah, it's not the same as having a cigarette. Yeah, I think he's down to like 8 or 10 cigarettes at this point, which. My God, how badly do you have to pack?
Is that something he can ask for in the diary room?
No, he can ask. They won't give it to him.
They won't give it to him.
Really?
Yeah, you have to bring those. Yeah. I thought up until this season, because I don't remember seeing it last season. Maybe I'm just...
They haven't had smokers in a couple...
I know, right? I didn't think they allowed it anymore. I'm actually surprised that they even allow it.
Yeah, I thought they aren't allowed to show it on TV, I believe. That they're not allowed to show it on air. That's why you don't see it on the live version, or on the TV version.
I would think that they would not allow you to smoke them because you could be out there talking game with somebody. There has to be something. There has to be some mechanism where maybe he can't talk game while he's smoking or something.
Or maybe they just don't show them. They show the other person, or they zoom in, and so you don't see the cigarette. You can maybe see the smoke. I don't know, but it's something where they're not allowed to show the actual act of smoking.
Also, they're also not getting very much outside time as a whole. So not many conversations are happening out there game related. And I think you think of the episodes. What have we seen outside in the last
Christian doing backflips?
Yes, Christian doing a backflip. Yeah. What else? Like there's almost nothing that happens outside. One, because they're not really allowed to go outside with like the COVID and everything with the staff being minimized and all that. But no, I think Derek F on an HOH. Oh my God, he would be so much fun though. He annoys the shit out of me, but he would be so much fun. He would be the most drunk on power player we ever have.
But he's not winning stop for that right now. He's not winning.
Oh, I know he's not winning this week. I know, but at some point, maybe he slips and falls and wins an HOH.
Please make the first 4 people fall off be the have-nots, please.
Yes.
Please.
Now, question for you guys, because I honestly don't know the answer to this. When Evil Dick had his cigarettes torn up by Jen, did they get him more cigarettes?
They did because she tore them up. She literally destroyed his property, so they replaced it.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious about that because I was like,
he won't have any property to destroy in a couple more days at this
He
point.
just needs to convince someone to get mad at him and tear up his cigarettes so they have to go buy him.
Only have like 10 at that point. They'll replace what he had and say, here you go, Derek. Here's half a pack.
He could just lie, just be like, no, I had a carton. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
They have cameras for that. They can find
All right.
out.
I love talking this, but I got to wrap it up here, guys.
Yes, we got to go. So,
yes.
Well, lastly, anything else you guys want to say for the cameras? Anything going on?
It's been a fun week. Not as fun as I hoped it was going to be. Again, I'm hoping for a little bit more spice next week. It's not that I don't love the people who are here. Like I said, I think Boston said it best. It's that these people all like each other too fucking much. Yep. And I need a little bit of anger. I need a little bit I had the most fun on Sequester when I was reading people the riot act. And I felt like that made the best TV when everybody was just like at each other's throats. Like, I want to see that. That makes good television. It's not very fun when everybody's just like, kumbaya, we like each other. Oh, you're great. Thank you for evicting me. Blah. Like, no, you're playing for $750,000.
And I think what would be fun is just to see whoever is the target win Veto and just shake things up a little. Right? I think that's what we need. Because the problem we've had is like, all right, yeah, maybe the person who wins HOH is a little interesting, but then they're just getting their way. And yes, it was fun while it was Frenchie. It was fun while it was Brent. It's a little less fun when it's Whitney.
A little less fun now. Yeah.
Even though Whitney is like not the best, but just need something to shake it up a little. And I think it can, because I think all these players are so damn aware of the future, and like they know jury is coming. They know at least I hope they know they need to step this up, and I think they can.
I would love, considering the Royal Flush thingy, that I would love Tiffany to get HOH. Target Sarah Beth win Veto. And the shit is on. The shit is on, girl.
Tiffany, Azza, Claire, Alyssa, I think all three of those as well are really, really fun outcomes.
Yes.
And the problem we've had is we've had really good feeds and really good lead up to the week with just the execution has just been flawless. So it's really made for predictable, boring ends of the weeks. So you go into the week excited for what's going to happen, thinking it could go multitude of ways, and then it ends up going exactly the predicted way. So that's been the problem. It hasn't been the lead up, it's been the follow through. So, okay, guys, so I think that's going to end it for us tonight. Everybody, where can they find you on social media?
Alex.
I am at Alex M. Rubino on Twitter and Instagram.
That's Alex, ALEXM, Rubino, RUBINO, right?
Thank you.
Yes. Yep. And I am at One Lucky Gay. That's one spelled out ONE.
And you can follow me at Goodsby Bobby on Twitter. We will be
Before you say sign off, I just want to say that I'm actually guesting. That is the plan is for me to guest with Karen Singbill from Big Brother Canada. She's the finalist from Big Brother Canada 5 with the Kevin Robert Martin. He's not going to be there, but that's the Karen I'm talking about. I know, like Alex got excited. Real quick. I love Karen. I love Kevin. I love Kevin. He actually butt dialed me one time. Because he has my phone number in his phone, and I'm guessing you didn't mean to call me. Like he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry, Brent. Sorry. Yeah. But yes, I'm gonna be. I gotta tell Karen about that. She'll think that's funny. When Karen and I are gonna talk on Monday. We're gonna get down to the nuts and bolts. We're gonna talk about this season, and I know Karen's got some shit to say. That's gonna be really fun. I'll put it on the timeline for my Twitter.
We need to get like Karen and Kevin here like on a podcast together. Just oh my god,
yes.
Well, that's very exciting. Where can people find that, Brent?
That's going to be on Karen's. Yeah, I mean, you follow my Twitter. If you guys follow my Twitter, I will tweet out the link incessantly. But it's going to be on Karen Singbale's YouTube channel, which just look at Karen Singbale, and you will be able to find it in YouTube.
There you go. All right, guys. For Alex, for Brent, I am Bobby Goodsby. We will see you next week where we talk about the Wednesday episode of Big Brother 23. Hopefully, we get a good shakeup going into this HOH, but we'll be here for it all. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Back in the day, I used to love watching professional wrestling every Saturday morning after my cartoons. And whenever I did, my favorite part was enjoying cereal with it because cereal was cool. But, of course, growing up, cereal being the best part as a kid, I had to give it up. Why? Because I realized it was full of sugar and junk that you shouldn't really eat. Now, I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, and unhealthy food and realized I basically can't eat anything anymore. I've been drinking protein shakes and powders for years, but I finally found a delicious way to get my protein before and after workouts. Now, hey, we're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring, and Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff.
I am hooked on Magic Spoon too. This stuff has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. We're only talking about 140 calories in a serving. Plus, it's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. Now you can build your own box or get a variety pack with available flavors of cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, and cinnamon. I am absolutely hooked on Magic Spoon. Like I said, my favorite is to blend some of those flavors. I like to mix up my cocoa with my frosted. That is some sugary deliciousness that I can't resist in the morning. Johnny, what's your favorite?
Oh, I'm mixing the cocoa with the peanut butter, and I'm doing a peanut butter cup action. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's good stuff. And if you want to join us in eating some Magic Spoon, just go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab your delicious cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code SURVIVOR at checkout to save $5 off your order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked.
Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use promo code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. And thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode. This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer-lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.